Hello, everybody. Welcome to this space of clarity that I intend to hold every week. And I'm Dr. Yasnilde. And for those of you that are not already in the group, every time I refer to the community, I am talking about the Facebook group that we're at, which is the Clarity Oasis. And it's bunch of nurturing for spiritually awakened professionals. And part of what that means is that I come live once a week and I poke a bit to stimulate self-awareness. And then we realize where we're at regarding a specific subject that we bring into the discussion. So please feel free to say hello, to leave your comments, to ask your questions, because today we are going to be talking about the resistance that a lot of us has around asking for help. And I wanted to start by commenting, like, how would that show up for you, right? Well, there are a few, and I've divided it into two categories of processes. Let's call it that way. The first one is when we tend to ask, and in front of the chance or the possibility of asking for help about anything, we ask yourself, well, why should I need it? Like, I shouldn't need help. And that comes from the thought process of, I should be able to handle everything on my own. I'm so familiar with that one. Well, actually, with both of them. This one is most of the time based on the belief, the sometimes subconscious belief, actually, that asking for help equals weakness. That if I need to ask for help, I'm inadequate. There is something wrong with me because I haven't been able to manage things on my own. That I need to do that. That I probably equate success with the ability of handling everything that comes my way. And a lot of times that involved emotions like shame, if I have to ask for help, if I can avoid it, feeling of vulnerability and exposed, because then I have to reveal things that I otherwise wouldn't have revealed. At some level is a feeling of being unworthy because I wasn't able or capable enough to manage on my own. And definitely fear of being judged because of that belief that we have. I should be able to do it all, right? Like I said, I'm very familiar with that one. The other one that I come up with, that I realized that I had my own myself, was when we ask ourselves, like, well, why could they give the help? I shouldn't ask. And that is usually associated with the thoughts of, well, people are busy. They have problems of their own. Why should I come? And here's the belief. And whatever ask I could do could be a burden on this person that I'm going to ask to. Because they have their own problems, because, well, I'm making them a favor by not asking. I should be self-sufficient so I don't bother them, right? Or I'm not worthy of other people's attention or time. And that layer is much more deeper in the subconscious, where, I'm not important enough for people to stop what they're doing and pay attention to me, right? The feelings around that one are varied and deep because it's usually associated with fear of rejection, and a lot of times we don't even notice, right? But there is a fear of, well, I'm gonna say no, and how am I going to feel around that? That also generates anxiety because it's usually associated to a situation or circumstances where you are in a pickle. you need, maybe you're feeling overwhelmed around something, right? And so it also comes sometimes with hopelessness, because there is a part of you that knows that you shouldn't be handling things on your own, not at that depth or at that level. And because you're not asking for help or being alleviated somehow of the burden, then there is a part of you that feels hopeless. Like there is no way out of this. I need to endure until, and again, very familiar with that. I can pinpoint many times in my life where I've felt that way. The thing is, there is, and let's put it into this perspective. I know, because I was. A lot of times we actually feel proud of the fact that we don't ask for help, that we are, capable, self-sufficient, independent. We use all of those words to describe that resistance. And the thing is, I have learned the bad and the good ways, in how many ways I was limiting myself in my life because I was resisting the asking. And I'm going to mention a few, and I want you to, or the invitation is for you to listen and aim to become aware if that what I'm saying is actually present in you. Okay. So the first consequence that I can think of right off the bat is the consequences of stress, burned out, exhaustion, feeling overwhelmed by the things that you are responsible for. It's a little bit of the story of I chew more than I can. I chew more than I can swallow. Right? And so because of that, the whole thing is like a how or when can I get out of the hamster wheel that leads to nowhere, probably, right? So overstress, burned out, exhaustion are definitely linked to the fact that we resist asking for help. The other one that comes to mind is having strained relationships. And this one is a doozy, because a lot of us, we don't understand why these things happen to us. And the things I'm referring to are, well, by refraining from asking for help, you distance yourself from others. And I'll tell you this because I've been there. And people in your life, people that you care about, they tend to feel excluded and undervalued when you're not asking. You're not opening yourself to them. You're actually putting a barrier between you and what is happening to you and those people. And we're also creating, and in those situations, we actually create a reputation of being made of steel. And I actually remember being proud of that one. But the thing is that the other person feels that you're unapproachable a lot of times, that you're superhuman, that you might be intimidating by some of the people, and you might be creating a situation when you make them feel weak themselves, less unworthy, because they want to open up. They want to, be part of something. So because of that, all of your relationships tend to strain at some point, if not at all points, because of that tendency of closing yourself up. Another one is inefficiency and reduced productivity, because we get trapped in wasting time in trial and error. We need to try it my way, my time, my approach, my idea. I need to do it on my own. And because of that, it takes longer than it needs to if you would only ask someone that has more experience on it in you than you, and then it can give you, the know-hows, right? The shortcut, the idea that maybe it could have occurred to you. It's oh my God, there is absolutely not on you that it didn't get to you on time. The thing is that person has it because it's been at it longer, right? So then I hack the help available by asking, You've been at it a while. What do you think about this? How do you go around this thing, right? And when we do that, it's just that's the basis of the saying, well, the teams makes the dream, right? Because also when we are in that situation, in this one that I'm talking about, around productivity and efficiency, the thing is that when we don't ask for help, we create pressure on ourselves to perform, and that feeds anxiety. Another negative impact of the resistance of asking help is actually the strain that puts in our mental health. And this one pains me because one, I was there, like I said, and two, when I see it, I feel so helpless, right? Because I want to help, but I haven't been asked. So this one is because by avoiding asking for help, being vulnerable with people around us, we isolate ourselves. And that is fertile soil to create feelings of inadequacy, frustration, definitely loneliness. And I say that on big capital letters. And that feeds anxiety and depression and sense of helplessness. And some of those things are actually feed themselves, because I completely remember a time when I could refuse to accept help because I felt depressed. Right? Just, I mean, just admitting that I was there was hard. The other one is that we create a lot of missed opportunities for growth, both professionally and personally, because we go slow pace in our own progress. We miss experiences that we opportunities to enrich our lives with, being fed or informed by other people's experiences themselves, right? And there is a sixth one that I wanted to bring about, because one is the most spiritual connotation, but that one could be the consequences of missing out, period. Because that is when we live in this resistance to ask for help, we're actually closing the door to receiving anything that we might have access to, or definitely have access to, in the universe. If we don't open ourselves to say, you know what, I need it, I want it, I'm open to it, then there are a lot of things that you might be wanting that you will never get. Because there is a saying in Cuba, actually, when I was growing up, it's like in Spanish, it might sound different, but it went something like, the baby that doesn't cry doesn't get fed, right? And this is a little bit like that. Asking and receiving help, it can be magical. How can a bunch of you, and the reason why I'm talking about this is because this week we've had a lot of discussions in the group around this thing, around asking for help, around um, accepting or looking for a mentor or a guide. And 40% of you were actually on the burden thing, and many of you weren't even sure that you needed. I'm just thinking about it, right? There was the cautiousness around the idea of having a mentor, a guide, right? And these things, again, it just pain me because I have seen the humongous shift that having mentors in my life have created. And I've also seen the amazing shifts occurring in those that I have guided, right? Clients that over the years have actually become part of my support system. And Couldn't that be like amazing when that happens, right? So there is some of you in that discussion would ask me, well, how do I get out of this? How do I shift this? How do I start changing my mind? Well, I'll give you a tiny little bit of cue, but the I think primarily, and I did answer those of you, and I thank you for the questions because you're in the draw. Ask me what draw is. Um, but in general, there are a few things that can be done to start the shift, right? So, for example, being willing to embrace the idea that instead of asking for help might be a burden or might be a weakness because we're just asking, we need it. Asking, we can start thinking that asking for help is actually a sign of strength, because for you to ask takes courage. And so I'm pretty sure that you might have heard so much that Brené Brown have talked about around vulnerability and how important and how powerful it can be in our lives. Well, this is the same thing, right? It's like by considering that I am taking on the courage to do it is actually a strength rather than a weakness. It is also understanding that asking for help is a two-way street. You actually open the door for another person to grow. You open the door to those beautiful relationships. You open the door to your own growth, giving the opportunity to the other person to feel the fulfillment behind the fact that it is actually teaching you or helping with something. So it is actually a two-way street. The benefits are not only for you receiving the help. There are beautiful benefits to those giving the help. And then the other suggestion that I was going to give you is underlying the shift that I went through. And I would love to see something like that for those that are willing to, is that I realized that I adopted a mindset of growth. I want to grow. I want to go better. I want to do better. I want to evolve. I actually want to discover everything that I'm capable of being. And for that, I want to take advantage as much as possible of the time that I have now. Adopting a growth mindset leads you to thinking things such as, well, I could improve if I ask for help. By asking for help, I actually create the opportunities for that growth for myself. I could learn from others. And by doing that, save myself some time, because I don't have to repeat the mistakes or, the blunders that other people that already did them, that have discovered what are the, like I said, the know-how things, the details, the clues, the things that I should be looking towards. What are the hacks, and so I can create opportunity for myself and learn for others. I could, and this is a biggie, by asking for help, I actually create the chance for me to connect with my tribe. And that is powerful, I can tell you. That creates such a level of connection to ourselves, such a grounds for developing love, for discovering what that is, for surrounding yourself with people that actually are not going to need for you to ask for help. And if it happens in the way that it did for me, that is in a setting of, spiritually awakened people, sometimes they come to me and say, you know what, I got this message for you. I don't know what's happening, but I guess you need to hear this. And then I've gotten precious clues into my own inner process that I hadn't even become aware of until that moment. So that is a gift of the universe that is not available to us until we're actually open to ask for help. The last one is because you could be attracting that safe space where vulnerability is actually easy. It's a natural thing. It's the go-to way in which you communicate with these people that are your tribe. And I have to say, all of that I accomplished because I accepted the fact that I needed help. Because I became willing at some point to ask and to open myself up to receive it from mentors and guides. And I have so much I can help you with in this journey, but I can only do it if you ask. So, are you willing? This is the only thing that I'm asking of you today. Are you willing to explore the possibility that you wanted, that you needed, that it could help you, that is there for you? Are you willing to reach out? Just say yes in the comments, okay? Just that. I love you to pieces, and see you in the next video.